Hello everyone, this is How To Bob, and in this video I'm going to show you how I flush the clutch fluid in a 2005 Honda VTX. I'm going to start off by removing the left crank cover. All these bolts here will have to come out. Now I do have my bike propped up with a lift just to keep it level. Makes it easier to deal with the reservoir at the top on the handlebars. So you can see these bolts here that are going in have a little rubber piece on them. That's an anti-vibration. You want to make sure those are all in good shape as you take each bolt out of the crankcase cover. Two at the bottom. You have to move the kickstand down to get to them. And just remove those last two. And we can set the crankcase aside. Now there are little rubber washers in between the crankcase and the crank there that I want to save, and I'll show you those at the end when we go to put them back on. So I'm going to move up to the master cylinder, clutch master cylinder. I'm going to remove the two screws that are on the cover, and then I'll make sure I wipe off any brake fluid that goes in to the master cylinder. It might spill out a little bit because of the handlebars, the way they're turned. Then I'm going to remove the diaphragm plate, and then last I'm going to remove the diaphragm. Now there's a float on the inside. I'll just leave that in there. And I've covered my bike with a towel in case any brake fluid leaks. I'm going to be using the pressure brake bleeder here, and I'll have a new can of .4 brake fluid that I'll be using. So I want to remove the cap, make sure everything's clean down here, and put my brake bleeder on the fitting, and I can use my 10mm wrench, and I'm going to slightly start to pressurize my hose on my vacuum bleeder, and I'll start to open up. And as I do, I want to make sure I keep my level in my reservoir, my master cylinder up top, full. You can see it start to go down, and you'll notice the dark color that was in there. As brake fluid gets old, it collects water, and any heat may change the color, and I want to get some new fluid in there. So I'm getting towards the end now. I'm going to keep the pressure on until I close off the valve, top off the rest of the master cylinder, and then I can tighten up my fitting down here and remove my vacuum bleeder, put the cap back on, and then I'm going to put my diaphragm back on and make sure I get that all clean. There's fluid that comes out, and the reason I have this so full is because the handlebars are at an angle here. I got it as flat as I can and level as I can. There's still plenty of room in there. Next I'm going to put my diaphragm plate on. And each time I put something in, I get a little bit more fluid coming out. And last but not least, I'm going to put my cap or cover back on. And I'm going to tighten that down. Alright, now that I've got that tightened down, I'm going to wipe down the area, make sure I don't have any brake fluid on any of the surfaces. And then I can go down to the bottom and start putting my crankcase cover back on. Now there's little rubber washers I was talking about. I've got two of them here that came off. So what I'm going to do is put a little bit of glue on there just to hold them in place while I put it on. They're not really doing much, but just to hold it in place while I put the cover on. It's kind of hard to put them on without the glue holding them in place. So I just put a little dab of glue on there, let it dry for a few minutes, and then I can slide my crankcase cover back into position and start to replace all of the screws. Once I get all my bolts put in, I can get my ratchet and snug down each bolt Make sure they're all nice and tight. And that's how you flush the clutch fluid in a 2005 Honda VTX 1800. If you like this video, check out my other VTX videos. I'm How To Bob. Thanks for watching.